funny. It's not funny. I was literally crying every day. It's not funny. But I don't know, maybe it's funny. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do, maybe, we'll see, I'd like to say speedy Q&A. I asked for these questions over a month ago. I'd planned to do this video and then I just took an accidental, not entire hiatus, but like just really scaled back for a minute. So I'm dipping my toe back in and I felt like this was probably a good place to start. I got a lot of duplicate questions, so I've condensed them into 6. I've decided on 6. They kind of fell into themes, and so I just picked one of each of the themes, the topics that were the most asked, and they are the ones that we're going to be going through in today's video. Can we see more styling and shop my wardrobe style videos? Yes, I've been thinking about this recently actually. I have some stuff from Vinted that I've been putting to one side because I'd like to do a Vinted haul. I definitely want to create more content about using what we have in all aspects. That is not to say that I am going to be a minimalist creator. I am a shopaholic. It's never going to happen. I could say to you, I'm never going to buy anything ever again. It would be an entire lie. I could pretend, I could make content pretending that I wasn't buying things, and that would probably be very popular, but I'm not going to do that because that's just not me. So instead, I want to encourage those of us who are on that hamster wheel of we need, to just try to make a few steps in the right direction away from that, away from like mass consumerism. I still get my fix of buying things when I buy secondhand, and I still get an exciting kind of rush from putting together outfits from things that I've already got, going through my makeup, seeing what kind of fits with stuff that maybe I was going to buy this, but have I got something already that fits that bill? Using or wearing things in different ways, that kind of stuff. So we're still going to do shopping videos. I'm still going to do hauls. I'm always going to buy things. That is just who I am at my core. I am a purchaser. I am a consumer at my core, but I'd like not to be. And I'd like to maybe make some baby steps away from like that on a big scale. I'm just never, it brings me joy. I know I'm not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to tell you that, you know, we're never going to buy anything again and it's all very wasteful and it's terrible for the environment. I know this. But if everybody just makes small steps, nobody needs to make enormous steps, is the way that I look at it. And I think that anything that you are doing all or nothing is not sustainable. So just try and make small steps towards something that you want to do rather than be like, right, from now, I am never doing this thing that I enjoy again, because it's just never going to work. Similar thing, am I still dieting? No, I'm not dieting at all. I did do, since I got these questions, I did do an update. I realized that the sound and the visual was not great for everyone, and I may refilm that at some point, but I did do an update on my Noom journey, just to kind of give you a synopsis of what that was right now. I really enjoyed it, would definitely recommend Noom if you are someone who just kind of wants to relearn about nutrition. I didn't have a problem with food. I have no kind of, I'm not an emotional eater, nothing. I've never been like a yo-yo dieter. I've never struggled with loads of different programs, none of that. So I can't speak to those of you who've tried all the diets and you're looking for the one that works. But if, like me, you kind of just always ate whatever was convenient, and you want to learn about like how food can really satisfy you and what foods make a difference to energy levels and which ones are a better choice if you're looking for something that you want to eat like lots of little meals or one big meals. I just think it was such a brilliant app for me because the whole thing it's like a food course. But it's just parceled out to you every single day. So as I said in that video, if you are someone who, like me, will get really into something and then immediately lose steam, it will probably be better for you. Because if it was me just calorie counting by myself, which effectively is what this is, then I would probably watch a load of videos, listen to some audiobooks, just get really, really into it for a couple of weeks and then just get bored. Whereas what Noom did was gave me little bits of that book over months. And so it kept me on track and it taught me things as I went. And when I would be getting bored, it kind of hooked me back in. I am not paid by Noom. I paid for my own whatever it was, 70, 80 pounds, whatever it was for 4 months. I've never given out any kind of links, nothing. There is nothing in it for me if you join. I just want to talk about it because it really did work for me. I'm not dieting anymore. I've just kind of gone back to eating what I want when I want. But I think something changed in me in terms of like what I would choose to eat because I haven't put the weight back on. It's crazy. I lost over 20 pounds. I've just gone back. I am not exercising at all. I'm barely moving. I sit down all day long. I am not walking. I am not in the gym, nothing. I've had lots of questions about, are you using this? I'm not doing anything. I haven't done anything since probably October, mid-October. Nothing. And I'm not even, like, I had a week off and I didn't leave the house for 6 days. I am not doing anything. So Noom, I honestly think, rewired my brain because I'm not consciously doing anything differently, and yet I haven't gained the weight back. How are you? Is the medication working for you? Yes and no. So I actually had a doctor's appointment this morning, which was long overdue. For those of you that don't know, I am taking sertraline, which is an antidepressant. I've been taking it for 4 months maybe now, and I had initially some side effects that weren't great, but I was powering through. It really took the edge off the crying every day, which was great. But I don't feel happier. And if anything, I feel worse because I can't feel happy at all. I am just completely numb. I know that's how antidepressants work. And I know the comments. I get it. Everyone's going to have an opinion. And I'm not saying this because I don't want you to share your opinions. I'm saying this to say I've heard every single opinion. I get it. I completely understand. This is what antidepressants do. I am going with the path that the doctor suggested purely because I want them to take me more seriously as we get further into that journey. I'm not anti anything. If a doctor, like I just trust that the doctor will help me if I ask for help, which is ridiculous because that's not historically what has happened. Historically, I go in, I say, can you hear Manny just tip-tapping around in the kitchen? I say, I need help with this, and they say, you'll be fine. But finally, I actually got a doctor to listen to me, and she said, this is what I think it is. Gave me some medication, said, come and see me in 3 weeks. Could not get an appointment with that doctor. 4 months later, I got an appointment with a completely different doctor. Night and day. So the first doctor I saw, I actually went to her in November, I think it was. And I said, I'd like to be put forward for an ADHD assessment. I said, I know it takes a long time, but I just want to get on that list. I think it could take years, but I want to get on that list. She said, because you're over 18, you can't be referred on the NHS. So I was like, cool. That's not what I thought you were going to say because I've read a lot to the contrary, but okay. And she got me to fill out some stuff and then saw her a few weeks later and she said, I'm going to give you some antidepressants. Okay, let's go down that path. So my thought at that point was, she's a medical professional. She's diagnosed me with this. She's telling me this is what I need to take. I'm going to take it because if this doesn't work, I'm going to come back and say, so remember when I told you about the ADHD? So that's kind of what happened today. I went back, I saw a completely different doctor. I took paperwork. I was like, I have heard about this. It's called Right to Choose. I would like you to refer me to Psychiatry UK. I filled it all out for you. Please do this. And he kind of just looked at me and said, it's not a problem. I said, the previous doctor told me I can't be referred because I'm an adult. And he said, that's not true. He was the nicest doctor I've ever seen. I thought she was really nice. And I was just taking her at her word because she was not dismissing me. And I've been before with similar symptoms and they've just gone like, oh, you just need to calm down. So I really just wanted to go with her. But because I couldn't see her, I saw this other doctor who ended up being the best for me because he said, not a problem. I want you to do this, this, and this. Then I'm going to refer you. So we'll see what happens. In terms of the medication that I'm on currently, I am exhausted all the time. I could sleep morning, noon, and night constantly. I could just never be. I don't know if you can, I can see it in my eyes. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm on the lowest dose that I can be on. And he said you could start taking it every other day or take half. So from today, I'm going to take half. I also have been taking it in the middle of the day because if I take it in the morning, by lunchtime, I mean, I went into work, into the actual office, and I had to go to my car to have a sleep at lunchtime. And this is on the lowest dose. If that doesn't tell you that maybe this is not the right medication, maybe there's something else going on. So we agreed that I will lower the dose that I'm on and we'll see how I get on. I realised that was a super lengthy answer, but it was probably not a good day for me to answer that question because it's very fresh in my mind today. I'll get into it in another video. We'll get way further into it as I have updates. Any travel plans and any, scared to ask, renovations or projects? Yes and no. No renovations or projects. So one of the benefits of this, like, I literally don't care about anything. Like, it's not that I don't care because I still have like a real pit in my stomach, but I don't care about anything. I had a pergola, right, I'm looking outside now. I had a pergola built in my garden. And this time last year, I would have been out there planting stuff. I was so excited to get out in the garden. I was like trying to make it spring in February. It is the middle of April. Today is the first day that I actually went and sat outside in the daytime. And I only went outside because I was too hot. And I realised loads of you think I'm perimenopausal. And I'm not dismissing that at all. I'm just going through the motions. That could just be another thing. It could just be an additional thing because I was just really hot. But under normal circumstances, basically the garden is now my dream garden. I couldn't spend enough time in it last year. I can't wait for spring and summer. Right now, I just want to go back to bed. I just don't care. I don't care at all. It's not great. It's not fantastic. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I just don't care. I keep thinking on the travel plans thing, we're going to Florida. We're going to Disney World for 2 weeks. Our biggest family holiday. It's a really significant one because it's Ella's last holiday before she turns 18. It's Milo's last holiday before he goes to secondary school. It is like our longest, biggest, very substantial family holiday. It is going to be like, I think we're building it up too much, honestly. It's the holiday of a lifetime. I keep thinking I'm going to be in the happiest place on earth, just completely unenthused about all of it. Just like, well, here we are. So ideally, I'd quite like to be off this medication by the time we go there in August. But the whole not caring about things has really helped to dial back my enthusiasm for things that I would usually do, i.e. projects. So I would usually have spent an absolute fortune doing something crazy, something painting, decorating, digging, some kind of renovation project that didn't need to be done. I mean, paneling walls, something. I would have spent an absolute fortune. It's very expensive, this hyper-focus, all of a sudden I need to wallpaper the dining room. It can be very expensive. So in actual fact, let's look for the silver linings. It's not the worst because I haven't done anything like that and I have no interest whatsoever. I'm looking around the room right now and I'm like, that could be done. I don't want to do it. Can't bother. Before, I would look at it and be like, ooh, there's a little bit of a crack in that bit of wall. And it would start with, maybe I'll just like filler over that. And then it would become, maybe I'll paint like the entire house. Other travel plans. So obviously, big family trip. Then I'm going to take Ella to Paris for her 18th, which is what she wanted for her birthday. So I'm taking her there with my best friend, who Ella is now working with. So much has happened. Ella's like a grown-up now. She's got a 9-to-5 job. It's incredible. Like, everybody else's life is going well. So that's very, very soon after we get back from Florida. We're going to go for a weekend in Paris, which I'm really, really excited about. I think that's going to be really fun. And I did have a bit of a meltdown because I'd accidentally booked it. We were coming home on the day that Milo started secondary school. I only had to move the trip, by like one day. I just moved it back one day. It cost me several £100s to do that. So. But it was good. It was good. I was glad that I did it because that was going to weigh on me. But someone said when I mentioned that I'd done it, that it was really sad that I'd had to move Ella's trip. I literally moved it one day and now we're going closer to her birthday. So it's all good. It's all good. But we're doing that. I'm really excited to do that. And then, even more exciting, my best friend and I, who were going to Paris with Ella, we are going to New York in January. We said last summer we were talking and we said maybe, because we don't do any kind of presents anymore. We don't do birthdays or Christmas and haven't done for a few years. I said maybe we should do something really big for our 40ths. So it'll be her 40th at the end of this year. It's mine in a couple of years. But, Maybe we'll do it again for my 40th. But we're saying at the moment this is for our joint 40th. And we'll see if we can eke out another one in a few years. So we're going to New York. And I keep saying to her, we could make this last forever, because everything we want to do now, everything we want to buy, we just say, well, we don't do presents. Well, we don't do presents. We'll be in a really expensive shoe shop in New York and we'll be like, well, we don't do presents. So we don't do presents. It's a really good way of justifying unnecessary spending. But we have that. We have so many travel plans. This is what I'm saying. And you know what? When I say, I'm so excited, no, I am, but I'm not. I am theoretically excited. I know that is going to be a great trip. I know the Florida trip is going to be great. I know taking Ella to Paris when she's 18. I mean, my friend and I, she's Ella's godmother, so we've been friends for a really long time. We've always talked about, one day when Ella's 18. So I know, I think what it is I know how I should feel, and I know how I would usually feel. And so I think I'm excited. But in reality, I don't really feel a lot. Like, I booked the New York trip, and that was a really big deal trip. Like, to go with my friend who we've only ever been out of the country together once 15 years ago, and that was to Paris for my first hen do. Somewhere there are mini disc recordings of this. It's things you say. Oh, I'm so excited. I am kind of, but also I haven't found it yet. I know it's coming. I know I will be. I'm just not actually yet, if I'm being honest. Another question. Are you going back to work? So I do not believe that my particular employer has any interest in us all coming back to work full-time anytime soon. There are people that I work with who do go to work into the office very, very regularly, multiple times a week. I only work 3 days a week. One of those days I can work really late. One of them is a very short day, which if I was working in the office, I don't really get to have that short day. And the Friday is absolutely manic. So it doesn't work for me as well. In the last month, my work have actually given me a thing so that I can have 2 screens. And I already had 2 screens, but it's a dock. So basically I can just plug my laptop in, and now I've got both of my screens, and it's all just so much more streamlined, which made me feel a little bit better about the whole situation, because I was a little bit anxious that maybe at some point they would be like, we want everyone to come back into the office. But they've made my hybrid working easier for me very, very recently. So I'm quite hopeful that that's not going to be a thing. Plus, because everybody has proven themselves to be good working from home, there's no reason for them to want us all to come into the office. I know it's different for some people, but I work for a very large German company. And so it's not like a little company. I think for a lot of people who have been told you need to come back into the office, it tends to be smaller companies, from what I can gather. Whereas at my work, they only really want us to be in if everyone needs to work together. We've had a lot of rail strikes recently. They've said, could people come in a little bit more often? But even then, it's an ask. It's not mandatory. So throughout this entire thing, especially with my what I would call my mental health crisis, I've been talking to a therapist, and I said, I can't be serious about this. It's very uncomfortable. I have to make a joke about everything it's to make me comfortable. It's to make you comfortable. I can't I couldn't just be honest. It would be so weird. I was, because I was diagnosed, it's not funny, because I was diagnosed with depression on the 20th of December. I said to my friend I was going to refer to it as my chronically depressed Christmas. It's not funny. It's not funny. I was literally crying every day. It's not funny. But I don't know, maybe it's funny. Maybe we can find the humour. We've got to, if we don't laugh, we cry. I love this question, and I honestly have no idea how I'm going to answer it. If there were no repercussions, what is the one thing you would do? I want to say I would probably give full-time content creation a crack. Just give it a go, see how I feel. But I really don't think that is ever going to be for me, because I just don't ever want to rely on this as my source of income. Because, how I've been feeling recently, I've not been uploading very often. I've just not wanted to do it. And if that was my main source of income, if this is how I paid my bills, that would then be a huge source of anxiety for me. Because if I work, like I can work from home, I could work from home at my regular job. I could be crying all day long. I have had early morning therapy sessions and then logged on for work, and I have not been in any fit state. Like, thank God no one called me on Teams, because I have not been in any fit state to take a phone call. But I have worked through it. I couldn't do a YouTube video through that. It's different. So no, I probably wouldn't. What would it be? What would it be? This has become very mental health heavy. I apologize. That was supposed to be a light topic. I mean, I would love to, like, I'd probably, I mean, if we're talking like, no repercussions, it's so difficult. Do you know why I think I might be having a hard time with this? Again, not to go back to, not to go back to this all the time, but I'm quite impulsive and I don't think about the repercussions of my actions very often. And I just do things and hope that they'll turn out. So I don't know if there are actually that many things that I'm holding back on. I don't know if there's very many things that I'm like, oh, I wish I could do this. I think I just do the things. I think, like, I have a friend who was recently, she was saying, oh, I'd like to start a channel doing X. And she's just like, oh, well, when I've done this and when I've done that, which is totally fine. And it was, in my mind, I'm thinking, this is insane. Just do it. Why are you? And she wants to do it properly. She wants to make, like, put a lot of background into it. She wants to really do her research, know what she's doing, and to do it properly. Whereas I would be like, so day one, have the idea. Day two, I'm doing it. So I really don't know. The only things I can think of would be like financial repercussions. So then maybe I would, if there was like no repercussions, I probably would do something crazy like bet a lot of money on something. I don't know. Maybe initially I was like, that's a great question. And now I'm like just generally questioning my life. Anyway, they were, I think, let me look. Yeah, they were kind of the main topics or themes. So thank you for those of you who sent in questions weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Finally, I filmed the video. I have just not been with it, honestly. I've not been myself, and I have just not really been feeling it. So I really appreciate, as always, those of you who are still here in spite of that. I always say I have a really engaged core audience. Occasionally, more people come in and find content because it's specific to what they're searching for, but I have a really engaged core number of people who watch almost everything, and I recognize your names, and often we talk on Instagram, and that is the part of YouTube that I love so much. That is the part of YouTube that means that I'll never ever go away completely. I know for me, I was thinking about this only yesterday, there are some people that I used to watch and they just kind of disappeared. And it's really sad for me because I felt like I was part of those people's lives, and I knew, like, I want to know what's happening with them now. And I get it. I get why people do it. They're just like, this is not for me anymore. But I just can't see a world where that's ever going to be how I feel, because I would miss that little core group so much. So I appreciate you tremendously. And if you stumbled upon this video, no, there's no way you've watched everything. If you've watched this all the way to this point, you've watched everything I've ever posted.